Zach, did you hear about Kong versus Godzilla?
No,
Oh, you haven't heard yet.
no. I heard about Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat, yeah. But you haven't heard about King Kong against Godzilla.
What the hell happened?
Oh man,
Don't tell me.
we're gonna have to kick up our.
Whoa, hell yes. Fuck yes.
So for people who don't know, King Kong Godzilla on HBO Max in theater, and also they're moving up the release date to, was it March 26th?
It says March. I haven't opened up an actual article yet. Hold
Yeah, I
on.
think I think it's the end of March. I think it's March
March
26th.
26th. That's pretty dope. It's pretty dope.
Yeah, so
I
from May to March.
I mean, I figured that they can just move it wherever they want because obviously the movie's done. Like, there's no way the movie's not done. So it's
hmm
supposed to be out a year ago. So,
Right. And that should be
um,
the same thing with fucking all those movies.
yeah, all those movies they can just move them around. But I guess for me, because it was supposed to come out in May, so what is now opening up in May that like got Warner Brothers, or are they just trying to spread shit out more? I don't know.
I was reading one of the articles. I think it was Collider's article on it,
Mm.
and I think Free Guy is coming out the same day that they're supposed to release Kong,
Mm.
and Spiral.
Spiral's not that much of a competition because that's different audiences, but I could see Free Guy.
I just feel like even then I remember I was reading that this morning and I was like, why? You're afraid of Free Guy and Spiral? Like
Yeah,
for
Ryan Reynolds is pretty popular, dude.
yeah, it's Godzilla though.
Yeah,
Maybe just in my world, maybe like in our world, we know.
I mean, for me, I would rather go see Godzilla, but I feel like I mean, King of the Monsters didn't do that well at the box office either.
I just don't give a shit about Ryan Reynolds. So I don't have. There was never a chance that I was ever
I
gonna
like
have.
Ryan Reynolds, but I don't like him
There
more
was
than
no
Godzilla.
chance that I was gonna see that movie.
Yeah,
You know.
that's fair.
Um. So
But I
I'm
don't know
glad.
why
I'm
they're afraid
glad.
of Spiral. Like, I mean, I guess horror kind of could over
Horror will
maybe.
draw people in. Chris Rock. So like
Hmm.
the Saw movie, but
But it's also
also
Saw. I mean, who really cares about Saw anymore?
I really feel like for that movie to do well, you just wait till October.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know. That's well, it's always like I don't know. I mean, they drop horror movies all over the year all
All the
the
time,
time, but
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. That feels like a very October movie.
It's not a summer movie.
No,
It's
not
not a summer
really.
blockbuster movie. If that's even a thing
Especially
anymore.
that's supposed to like kick off the summer blockbuster
Yeah,
season. I don't know. It feels like it'd be a pretty weak start.
yeah. I don't know, but getting Godzilla like a few months earlier, and which comes
I'll
out
take
in
it.
2 months from now. I mean,
We have to adjust our schedule. Well, wait, when's James Bond gonna come out?
I think it's April, right?
Oh, okay, so we can just do back to back. Well, that works.
Yeah. Um, because we only have to do for Godzilla if we do any sort of theming for it. What
We
we
would just
do,
have to do. I guess we would just do the American Godzilla movies. So we do Godzilla, we do King Kong, and then
and
we
then
do King of the Monsters, and that would
yeah,
probably lead up 3 weeks.
or maybe
Actually,
we would do those three plus the original King Kong versus Godzilla,
oh yeah, that too.
just so we can compare and contrast,
Yeah. So that would be like the last week. Yeah, I'd be interested in
something
that.
like that, But I figured we start the show with that, man, because that's some big news.
It's big news.
We've talked about that movie ad nauseum
Can't wait. To.
in various formats and episodes. But this is License to View. This is a weekly pop culture podcast where we get together talk about pop culture stuff, anime, TV shows, movies, comic books, all that jazz.
Yes.
I'm Jason. That's Zach. What's going on, dude? What you been up to?
It's been a busy week, dude. There's a lot of stuff going on. This is the big like anime winter season week, so a lot of shit premiered.
Oh yeah.
A lot of stuff I'm checking out. Um, I don't know. I don't want to give my impressions until like a couple episodes in because it's really just like first episode stuff.
Right.
But this is the start of the winter season, so got a couple of things that I'm keeping a track on. Only a few things that like are really like standing out to me right now. So I don't know.
Mm.
We'll see later on if like
Any good shonen stuff or anything like that or no?
I'm trying to think. I don't know if there's anything like necessarily like new like shonen wise. Like there's some new like fantasy stuff that's kind of cool,
Okay.
but I don't know if there's any new. I mean, besides Attack on Titan.
Right.
And they got the new season to Doctor Stone, which is nice because I like the first season of Doctor Stone.
Still haven't seen
Uh,
it.
it's good, man. I mean, it's like I think I talked about it on the podcast a while back, but it's like it's Shonen Jump, but it's all based around like science kind of stuff. So
All
there's
I feel like I was reading about it to
you might have been.
check it out. And I
Mm.
feel like I read somewhere on like on Reddit or something that
Mm.
like the original idea was to have the fighting guy, the main character, and then I guess like they quickly realized that Doctor Stone was more popular, so they made him the more popular character. Um,
Yeah, I could see that. That yeah, the originally his big like Unga Bunga partner could have been the main character, but yeah, then he gets like sidelined. Like in the anime, it's like 5 episodes in, and they're like boop, and they
so
kick him off.
I think that's what I read. I could be wrong, but I swear I read that where
But
like
yeah, I find Doctor Stone a more interesting main character, anyways, just because, especially for a Shonen Jump series. I mean, it hits into that non-battle battle type of thing with him like trying to do, and especially for him, it's not like, especially a lot of the early stuff is not like him actually like battling like even in a non-battle way of like a person, but him like trying to like figure out in this stone world like how to make this technology. So it's like one of the first big things was like, and it's all like incrementally set up too. Like especially in this newest season, it was like they were trying to figure out how to make basically like space food, like freeze dried food,
right,
and so it's like them trying to figure out how to make like the vacuum sealer type of thing is them like using all of the different parts of like inventions that and technology that they've used so far and like combining it all together to make like the vacuum tube or in the vacuum sealer. So I mean that kind of like progression is a lot more interesting
right.
to me.
So I remember
But then it's
I
also going to get into like a traditional battle thing where it's like the main enemy faction is all like people from the old world that are unthawed, but they're all
mm,
like the main bad guy is like just like a typical OP protagonist, except he's the
right,
antagonist, where he's just like super strong and like can like punch a shit at anybody. And
right.
then his like main sidekick is a guy who like did some sort of like spear martial arts that can like twirl a spear around or something. I don't know.
Mm,
It didn't make a lot of sense to me. I was like, I've never heard of this martial art in my entire
right.
life, but
Well, I mean, I read the first chapter on the app, and it was completely like geared towards the fighting guy.
yeah,
It's about him, like, the girl he loves, and she gets turned to stone or whatever.
yeah,
It's
it's
like
weird. Yeah.
clearly like that was like the focus, and then maybe reader polls came out, and they're like editorial was like, no, you gotta switch this up. Like you gotta
Well, also like just even if it was supposed to be like hinged on him, like even in that first chapter, like him as a main character is not like super interesting.
right,
He's just an unga bunga guy.
yeah,
He's got like nothing else besides that, and he's not as strong as like the main antagonist.
right.
So
See
I really don't.
that's when I go. That's what made me not want to read it more. I was like, oh okay, well
I don't know.
that's the character that I like. I want the guy who beats up people.
Oh,
This is
well, yeah, you probably like would like the antagonist.
this is
Yeah,
gonna be like
he like
this
kills
is
a lion and like uses its
yeah.
skin to make like a cloak and shit. And I was like, oh
Yep,
yeah,
that's absolutely what I
that's
want.
caveman unga bunga stuff.
I
So
want like fucking Fist of the North Star. That's what I want.
that's fair.
So what else have you been checking? Any other promising looking shows so far in
Um,
terms of like theming? Maybe not quality, but of any ideas that sound good.
I mean, there's the I checked out the skate anime.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
liking
yeah.
that. Because I mean, yeah, I mean, I talked to you and I watched the first episode and I'm like, yeah, this is like Air Gear basically.
Mm,
It's like the same type of, not like as ridiculous as Air Gear because Air Gear is all based around a concept that would never exist of popularized motorized roller skates, which will
right,
never happen. But but I mean, it's all based around like, you know, underground races that take place on skateboards and stuff like that, and like people use these races to like get prizes or like win fame or money or something like that. And so it's all like that basic air gear thing, which is like you take like a mundane like sports hobby that people like, and then you like crank that shit up to like 11 and do some
right.
insane like underground races, bets, underground world type of shit. But I like it a lot, and I like the main duo, the like underground kind of skateboarder who's very passionate, but like maybe not as good as everybody else. Like you can tell that like he's definitely going to get there eventually, but like right now he's not that good. And then the new guy that showed up is like he's a really good skateboarder, but that's not because he used to be a skateboarder, he used to be a snowboarder, and so it's like the whole
Mm,
first race is like he can barely even get on the skates until he like tapes the skateboard to his feet.
mm,
So he rides the whole thing like a snowboard and stuff like that. And then, like the first episode is like him like figuring out like that skateboarding and snowboarding are similar, except for the fact that you have wheels underneath you. So he like tries to do like the sharp turn that you do in snowboarding, and his board catches on. He's like, oh yeah, I have wheels. I can't do that.
It sounds
So
like a inverted version of Johnny's Tsunami,
probably
where it's
it
like
probably is.
Johnny Tsunami surfing and then goes to the snowboard, and
Yeah,
then goes from the snowboard to the mountain board.
that's true. Yeah, he did go to the mountain board. Yeah,
Yeah.
he
What
never
was?
went to the actual just regular skateboard,
No, I never did
did he?
that. I don't think
Yeah,
so. There's only two
it's not
movies.
extreme enough. So
What was that Cartoon Network anime show where like the robots would race on a track? There was like a
the
mech
Hot Wheels show.
show. No, it was like a mech show, and they would like race like in these
Hmm.
mechs on the circular like a NASCAR track.
You talking
On
about
like,
IGPX?
is that a rollerblade
I
show?
mean, that was an anime, but it was on like Toonami Cartoon
It
Network.
may be. That
Hold
might
on.
be it. They were like they would like race each other and like fight on a track.
Because IGPX was definitely like they're in robots and they're like racing.
That's probably it then.
I don't know if it was like a NASCAR track. I think they were a little bit more like convoluted than that because it's
They
anime.
were on
But
like rollerblades or something, weren't they?
yeah, I think that's IGPX.
It sounds about right.
My fucking internet is being Immortal Grand Prix. That's what it was called.
Is there
Yeah, like these type of
like a
things.
red and white robot or something?
The main one looks like blue and yellow, but I mean it's the
Okay.
same type of thing. Oh my god, my internet is not loading. What the fuck?
I can just
Whatever.
Google it.
Hold on, I got it. But yeah, it's. I mean, it's basically just this, isn't it? This is what I pulled up.
Yeah, that's it. That's it for sure. Yep. That's it.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that show come on TV, and I remember being like, "I'm never gonna watch that."
Well, it reminded me of there was another racing one that came on too. That it wasn't like robots, but it was also in Toonami. It was like something Star Racers or something like that, which was like a
Okay, yeah,
it was like Omeron Star Racers or something like that.
I
Just another
remember
one that was
that.
like an anime that they just played on like I think they played on a lot on like daytime Toonami or something like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, racing's always been big in anime.
It's
Easy
never,
drama
it's
as well.
never the only good racing thing I like is Initial D. That's the only thing I like.
That's the one I haven't seen.
It's the best.
I like Air Gear a lot, but Air Gear
I
is really not about races. It's more about like challenges. It's more like that.
Yeah, I never seen Air here. Never read it. I know what it is, obviously, but
Yeah,
it's Initial D is for sure
yeah,
the classic car show, like classic car manga, car
yeah.
anime. The amazing music in the anime because it's like super 90s.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Running through the
yeah,
night.
all the Euro dance type
Yeah.
stuff. It's a great show. Now,
So many remixes of the Euro pop or Euro dance or whatever with
yeah,
like there was a time where it was like I was looking up just shit to listen to at work and there's like so many people that like take the initial D Euro dance or whatever and like
yeah,
remix it into other anime openings.
yep. It doesn't
It's like a whole guy whose channel is like just doing that.
the CG in the show.
I've seen some of the CG scenes of like the cars drifting and I was like, good.
It's not
It definitely looks like early 2000s 90s CG.
yeah, it's not amazing, but it definitely reminds me of the movie we're talking about
Yes,
later
it definitely
today.
reminded me. It definitely, yeah, it definitely looks like that for sure.
But what else you been up to, man?
So I did watch. I got my Criterion of Firewalk with Me, so I watched
Oh,
that.
okay.
Deleted scenes. Um, it's a really sad movie.
Oh, really?
Fucking depressing as fuck. And it's weird because I've listened to Jay and the Wizard talk about Firewalk with Me a bunch. I've watched their reviews on Firewalk with Me a bunch, and so it's like I already know like kind of what's in the movie and just like the osmosis of like Twin Peaks being around so long, and like I know kind of what happens already. But it was just like there's something about Cheryl Lee's performance as Laura Palmer that's like I don't know, she's really good. It's very haunting. Um, David Lynch has something that like he can get with certain actors, he can like get that thing out of them that like sends it to the next level.
Right.
Um, and I think he did that with Cheryl Lee in Firewalk with Me. I don't know. It's very sad. It's very depressing. It's all about like her final days before she dies, and she like learns that like her father is possessed by Bob, the evil spirit, and she just thought that like some random weird guy had been like, she says in the thing that like he's been molesting her since she was like 12 or 14 or something like that. And then she learns that like it's her dad, and so that's fucking terrible. That
Right.
like your dad's been molesting you for like, I think she's supposed to be like 17 in the show, so it's like 5 years or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like it's fucking sad and heartbreaking. It's very
Right.
depressing. But there's also that glimpses of a little bit more of the mythology in Twin Peaks. This goes into a lot of like the especially deleted scenes, goes into more of like the evil spirits and like kind of their a little bit of the inkling of like what their social structure is like and that kind of thing.
Why the fuck does Cooper even go to investigate that one murder?
So the way that it turns out is that he really doesn't go there to investigate Laura Palmer at first, but it's the other girl that was with Laura Palmer, Ronette, because the original like attack and whatever takes place in Canada,
Mm-hmm.
and so when they originally find her,
Oh, okay. The
she
border.
crossed over the line from Canada to back to Washington, and so that is what allows them to
Oh,
call it
okay.
FBI. So
Because I was
yeah,
like thinking like you just fucking call the state police
yeah,
to investigate that murder. Why the fuck would you call the FBI for one single
yeah.
murder?
That's the thing that doesn't make a lot of sense in Fire Walk with Me, because the first like 35 ish minutes or something like that, it takes place around a different FBI agent who investigates the first murder that Bob did, which is not like, it doesn't have the same type of like, it doesn't like cross boundaries or anything like that.
Mm,
It just takes place in this trailer park run by Harry Dean Stanton from Repo Man.
right.
Uh, but but yeah, it's just like I he just gets called in to like investigate this, and I didn't understand like why him as an FBI person was called.
It's because this, Zach, and this is not just coming from my real life experience. This is just also coming from just from being a fan of fucking crime fiction and reading so
Yeah,
much of it. It's like because people who don't understand or don't know reality think that the FBI agent is going to be a better homicide investigator than the regular detective, which is completely not true. Because
yeah,
the regular, like, imagine like you're a homicide detective in Chicago. How
mhm,
many murders do you work in a year?
yeah,
150. The FBI agent may work what, a, two a year. So
yeah,
that the traditional investigative process makes no sense to call FBI agent right out the gate. Now it's a fucking serial killer, like the people who have fucking master's degrees in
yeah.
criminology. Yeah, go call them, but they're gonna.
Yeah, but this is also like this is the first in that series, and so they don't know that he's a serial killer yet. I think it had something to do with like drugs. I think kind of because
Yeah,
I think that they thought that she was like a drug runner, so maybe that's kind of how they like got the in with something like that. But then it also gets the fact that it was like um, I don't know if he's necessarily supposed to be like a better investigator, but it's definitely the thing where it's like the sheriff's office in the beginning, which is Twin Meadows, I believe is what it's called, instead of Twin Peaks or something like that. It's like it's also interesting because this whole opening scene is like the whole town is like the opposite of Twin Peaks, where it's like Twin Peaks
mm,
is very like warm and inviting, and all the characters are like kind of quirky, but they're people that like you get to like enjoy being around along the way. And it's like everybody in this world is, or everybody in Twin Meadows is like fucking dirty and
right.
grungy, and like the sheriff's department, like the sheriff is like a fucking asshole who like does not want to play ball and like
Hmm, hmm.
blue balls the like FBI guys he's like trying to investigate. And then there's the deleted scene where he like gets in a fist fight with him because apparently he thinks he's a badass because he can like bend rebar or something like that, like
Ah,
the
okay.
Hulk can. So he's like, "Fuck you, I'm gonna fight you." And then the FBI guy like beats him in the fight, and then also bends rebar. And I was like, okay, so like everybody can just fucking do that then? Like what the
You
fuck?
know what because I watched the Red Letter Media the Twin Peaks video,
Mm-hmm.
or both of them. Not that I
Oh, the
have,
new ones.
yeah, not that I have any context for it. I just
Yeah,
fucking watched it because I watch everything they post.
yeah,
And it got to the part of the review where they're talking about. Again, I have no context for the show, so I'm just like
yeah.
naming characters that I saw in the review. It was the fucking guy who, I guess in the original, he's a cop in the return, but in the original show, he was not a cop. He was too young. He was like a
Yeah, yeah,
fucking
yeah. Bobby.
like a punk kid.
Uh huh.
I had no idea that when I was watching Psych, and they did the Twin Peaks episode.
Yeah, that's him.
I did. I was like watching the review, being like, oh, that's the guy from fucking Psych. I was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense as
So
to why
yeah,
the
it's
Twin
him,
Peaks
and then
episode would have him in it.
I think his wife is somebody too, but I can't remember in the Psych show. I think his wife is, and then the librarian is obviously
See, I
Audrey.
no idea. So
Yeah,
I'm watching Psych, and I was like, okay, this I know the vibe they're going for because I understand the
yeah.
pop culture reference of Twin Peaks, right? And then
Oh, and also, you probably didn't know this, but you remember the priest in Psych
yeah.
from the Exorcist episode, and from he shows up in the Twin Peaks episode.
Hmm.
He's Laura Palmer's dad. Like that's the guy.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
He has one of my favorite lines in the show completely, which is when I mentioned before, but it's when he says, "All right, guys, hands in," and then
yeah.
Sean and Gus put the hands in. He goes, "It's not a baseball game." It's like, that to me. I'm actually due for my Psych rewatch in the next
I
couple
am too,
weeks.
yeah, because I think it's been a year since I finished it. No, it probably hasn't been that long because it took me a while. I think I
Yeah,
finished it like April, so
yeah, I watch it every winter,
yeah,
and it's about time for me to hit the rewatch.
yeah.
So what else you been checking out, dude? Besides Firewalk?
So I did that.
Oh, excuse
I
me.
watched the Lupin series on Netflix.
Oh, right, right, right.
It's it's definitely going for like the Luther format. Like it's definitely like it's a shorter thing. It's 5 episodes, but
That's cool.
unlike Luther, there's not a definitive like end to the season. Like it's just a cliffhanger for the next season, which was kind of like disappointing. Like it's not like episodic, like Luther
Mm.
kind of was, and then there was like an overarching story. Like the whole show is just the overarching story, which is all like it's also like not about him being like a thief. Like he really steals something at like he steals the necklace in the first episode, and then he really doesn't steal anything the rest of the time.
Yeah.
It's all about him like he's doing like he's using Lupin things. He's like a master of disguise and like that kind of thing, and he's doing like espionage stuff to like try to uncover this conspiracy because his dad was like framed for the stealing of this necklace and like hung himself from the guilt because he was hanged and he couldn't get the evidence to prove that he was innocent, and so it's all about he figures out that the guy like framed his dad, and so it's all about him like trying to uncover some dirt to like try to like bring him down. But then like the last two episodes are like he tries to do something, it doesn't work. His partner that he was working with gets killed, and then the last episode is like a cat and mouse game with this guy, and you're like, okay, clearly like he got the better of him, like that's gonna be it. And then somehow like the guy gets let go because like I guess the police in France are shitty. Well,
Yeah.
it's also like the police chief is like he's corrupt and he's apparently in on the guy that like framed the dude's father. So there's like that whole type of thing with it. But I like so the hitman for the bad guy like got let go, and then he steals Lupin's son, like he kidnaps him,
Hmm.
and that's the end of the season.
Right.
And then they're like another part's coming, and I was like, you could have just given me the second, like just make it 10 episodes if you're just gonna drag it out this long, and just like give me the whole thing now, because now I just want to know what the hell else happens.
Right.
I don't know, but it was fun regardless. I mean, I wish it'd been more like thievery kind of stuff. I mean, they said a line at the beginning that was like this is basically the end of his like thieving career was like him stealing the necklace, because I guess he's been doing it. They have like some flashbacks where he's been doing it for a while because he's like he's a full grown adult at this point, but. I don't know. I mean, if the series is called Lupin, I want you to be like stealing shit.
Right.
I want like Lupin the Third type of stuff. And like, there's a little bit of that with like the disguises and whatnot, but it's not really so much about like the stealing. It ends up being more like, yeah, like the conspiracy type of thing. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't care about that.
Yeah, it also wasn't a magic book, so
Oh, okay, because the description on Wikipedia absolutely made it sound like a magic
there
book.
must be a different Lupin series because yeah, it wasn't
No,
a magic.
that's the same fucking show, bro.
Oh, I don't know. Then maybe it was a mistranslation.
I read it
because
and it was
the
like
book was definitely not magical.
the
Like,
way
he
that
didn't have magical powers.
I read it last week, man. I saw it on the podcast. I read it. Like it's the fucking same actor, same cast.
Yeah.
Just the way that the Wikipedia description says it
Well,
makes
this
it
is why you
sound
don't
like
trust
you're fucking,
Wikipedia because that shit is dead wrong.
and like it doesn't even say like use the word magic in it. It just says like fucking.
Well, he does
Um,
like get his ideas from the Lupin book.
and that's
Like,
kind of
there's
what it's implying. But I
oh,
mean,
I thought it was like I thought it was saying that it was like a magical book that like gave
no.
him power.
Let me read it again for you. I'll read it again. Synopsis,
Mm-hmm.
right? Hold on, let me pull it up. Oh, they changed it. Damn.
No, they
Okay.
did.
Yeah, they changed it. Whatever. It's on the podcast last week, I think.
Yeah.
Whatever. But my impression of it was like, oh man, he gets a book and it gives him shit. I was like, I don't want to read that shit.
No, I mean he gets the book from his dad, but like it doesn't give him anything except for like ideas, I guess. But
But also,
like
you're fucking French and you have to read a fucking book about Lupin to get ideas? What the fuck are you talking about?
I don't know, dude.
There's a billion movies.
Also, there's the one cop in the police station that's like trying to figure out Lupin's identity, and he keeps like going back to like he's like doing like Arsene Lupin things, and everybody is like looking at him like he's a fucking idiot. But like by 5 episodes in, I'm like, but he's right at this point. Like you have enough evidence, they'll be like, he is doing this stuff.
Right.
So I don't understand. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I'm going to watch it. I might. I mean, maybe. But
I don't know.
I have to.
I
There's
did,
so much to watch that I just don't.
There's a lot. Like the other thing that I watched this week, which was, I don't know if you got a chance to watch it, but I finished it. I started it and finished it last night because it's really fast. I watched the Night Stalker show.
Last night I only watched the first episode last night.
It's solid. I mean, I liked it a lot better than the Yorkshire Ripper one.
Oh my god, just the quality.
The quality is better, and I also don't hate the cops, unlike I did in the Yorkshire Ripper one,
Right.
because these cops aren't incompetent. In fact, it's the people above them that are competent, which made me pissed off.
Yeah.
Whereas, like they show in episode 3, I think, is the one where Diane Feinstein shows her fucking face, and she basically goes on TV and like gives away all the information that the cops have of like, you know, I've watched enough CSI shows to know.
Yeah.
That you always save some information that nobody else knows.
Oh yeah.
So you can trip somebody up, or they can't like change their shit.
Yep.
And she just gives it all away. And I'm like, this fucking bitch.
Yeah.
And the cops were mad too. They're like, fuck. Like our whole case is fucking gone.
Yeah.
And then they went to their sheriff, and he's like, they went to, because they work for the sheriff's office. And they went to the sheriff, and they're like, you gotta stop letting people talk about this damn case, or we're not gonna ever catch this guy. And so then the sheriff like holds his own press conference, and he's like, stupid people said a lot of stupid things, and I don't know where they got their information, but they need to shut their damn mouths. And I was like, hell yeah.
You know, it's the stuff like that that makes
also you had the shit where you had the reporter from NBC News that showed up, and like somehow she got the information on the shoe. And also I work in news, and I hated all the journalists that they interviewed for this. I was like, fuck you. Like, fuck you 100%. Like, why are you being a fucking asshole right now? Like, the woman, she was like, oh, she had the information on the shoe print, and she somehow found out about it. And then and then she basically said that she was, like, going to do a story. And he was like, you can't do this. Like, this is the only evidence that we have on him that connects him to these crimes. Like, you can't do this.
Yeah.
And so then she like talked to the chief, and she's like, all right, I won't do it, but you're going to do an exclusive interview with me. And I was like, oh my God, just let them do their damn jobs.
Yeah.
Especially when it's like, this is the guy that solved the Hillside Strangler case, which is a thing that I didn't realize. That
I didn't realize
it
until they mentioned it in the
then they
first
mentioned
episode.
It.
Yeah.
Like, oh, so like they should have even more reason to like leave
him.
And
it's worse because like, you know, obviously you read about or listen to podcasts about Night Stalker, and you hear about like obviously he's brutal, and then they don't really ever talk about the cops really.
No, not really.
They talk about how what the cops do as a unit to find whatever, but they don't break down like the detectives who actually work on it.
Yeah.
So when you're watching this documentary episode 1,
it's all about the two detectives,
and they explain from the get-go like this guy is like a fucking superstar, and the reporters are talking high of him and how he's good, and you're kind of like, how would you shut the fuck up?
Yeah. If you know he's good, then like, why don't you leave him alone?
And this is why. And this is it's funny because I had dinner with our friends like last week. We all went to go to dinner or whatever, for the first time in however long, and we were all talking about what everyone's doing and how everyone's going, and we were talking about you,
Hmm.
Zach. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, Zach told me that he's, just, looking at other options in the future about,
Yeah.
this news business and all kind of stuff,
Hmm.
and where he wants to go and all that kind of jazz. And uh, I forgot who. I think Kyle told me, or some one of our friends. I think my girlfriend, whoever it was like, and you told Zach, like you told him, Jason. Like I was like, yeah, I told him before he left college. Like the world that news is,
Yeah.
fucking at some point, it's literally a moral line,
Yeah.
right? And having seen both sides of the police tape,
Hmm.
like when I watch documentaries like this, it makes me so infuriated because I
Yeah.
see when cops do stupid shit, I go, "Oh, come on, it's so obvious." And then
Yeah.
when I see reporters, and it's always the reporter, it's never the producer,
Yeah.
it's never the photog, it's always the fucking on-screen piece of shit who
Yeah.
wants to make it for that fucking sweeps month to go to the next
Yeah.
level. It's always that motherfucker, right?
Hmm.
It's never the producer. It's never
Yeah.
the fucking, or it's the fucking VP or the EP or whatever the fuck who's like out there and whatever, who has no idea how police shit actually works.
Yeah.
Um, and obviously I haven't seen the rest of the show yet, so I'll talk about it next week when I finish it. But
Yeah.
and hopefully, I think I told you this before you got your first job.
Hmm.
Is like when producers or people back at the station are like, just go talk to a cop, and it's
Yeah.
like that's not how this works.
That's not how this works.
It's
Yeah.
not how this works. There's a person that does that. That's their job,
Yeah.
you know. And you
There's an
watch
actual
there's
PIO.
an
Like
actual
that's the
person
person that you need to
that's their
talk to.
gig, and then you watch like stuff like this where they interview these people and they don't understand that, like, dude, it's 100 days and how many people are fucking dead,
Yeah.
and like,
Well, it was like it's that, and then there's also that bit. Um, it's just going back to the higher ups thing where it's like it made me so mad because it got back to the higher ups thing where there was one part where like they were staking out Richard Ramirez's dentist office
right,
and like had two cops like stationed in the dentist office, and then it was like eventually like one of the higher ups was like, "You're wasting money. Like, don't do this. Like, it's LAPD's turf anyways. Put a burglar alarm in there, and that
yeah,
way when the guy shows up, they'll trip the burglar alarm, and then we'll get him." So it's like the day after they pull the actual like on the ground cops off, Richard Ramirez showed up at the dentist office, and the guy hit the button, and nothing happened because somebody installed the button wrong.
yeah,
So Richard Ramirez got away and probably killed like
however,
I
yeah,
can't remember exactly the timeline, but I'm sure he killed like 4 or 5 more people
right,
after this, and it could have all been prevented if they just let the cops do their damn job.
yeah, yeah. It's and like it's such a impossible thing to gauge because you can never know what's right or wrong.
Right.
But at the same time, it's kind of like obviously hindsight's 2020. But
Yeah.
you watch these things, you read about these crimes or these or even like with like military history or whatever,
Yeah.
and you're kind of like, it's so fucking obvious not to do that. Like just
Yeah.
like you have your star detective and you have a really smart upstart guy who
Yeah.
everyone is saying is a good upstart. How about like give them some? How about this?
Guy
Because
who is so good that people think he's just trying to make a name for
yeah,
himself and like throwing out all these crazy ideas, but he actually knows kind of what's
let's
going on.
give them some rope and they can hang themselves later. But also, I don't know. You have like fucking 10 people murdered in their homes. Let's take
Yeah.
a chance.
Yeah, I think it's like 10 murders before they finally like are able to like definitively connect them
Yeah,
all to like the same person.
let's take a chance here.
Yeah.
No, I'm looking forward to finishing it. My girlfriend and I watched it last night late, the first episode, and she fell asleep at the end, so I couldn't even. So I was like, oh, I'm just gonna wait till tomorrow to finish this.
Right.
So I'm gonna watch it this weekend.
Yeah. No, it's good though. I enjoyed it a lot. But yeah, I just like every time it wasn't like one of the cops that was talking, I was like, I hate you. I hate
Yeah,
all of because cops were right. The cops were 100% right the whole time. It wasn't like the Yorkshire Ripper case at all.
yeah,
So that made me happy. There was like these aren't incompetent cops. Like they know what they're doing. It's other people
yeah,
that keep
yeah.
getting in their
It's
way.
not like it's like when I was watching. And I'm not biased with this because I've seen both sides of the tape. So like when I watched like the Memphis documentaries from HBO, the
Mm,
um the Memphis 3, right? Is that what it's
mhm.
called?
Yeah, the Memphis
Where I'm
3.
like, the cops are so fucking wrong. I'm like, dude, you guys fucking suck. You guys are so shitty. Like, just because these kids like heavy metal, you want, and one kid's
Yeah,
mentally handicapped, you want to like, oh, this is satanic. I'm like, fucking, you guys are idiots, dude.
yeah.
Or you watch like stuff like or even I saw oh my god, Zach, this is irrelevant to this. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine.
I was on TikTok, which is a first off a problem because I'm
Okay.
too old for TikTok, right? And there's this thing on TikTok, dude, where these fucking children, and they're children,
They are
right?
children.
Um, they're from between the ages of like 14 and like 20.
Yeah. Okay.
Just romanticize the idea of being abused or whatever.
Oh my
And
God.
there's like in the sense of like not like they want to be abused, but they're like oh, these serial killers were abused in their childhood, so we shouldn't like whatever. So there's this girl I saw. I can't remember her account name. If I had it, I would definitely send it to you because it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Was like talking about how the Menendez brothers were actually like they were abused as children, and
That's
like
a fake story that they made up
and
to try to get sympathy.
they didn't deserve to be in jail, and
You know what?
they should
These
be
are the type of
released.
people that send Richard Ramirez naked pictures
Yes.
in jail. So,
Yes. And I remember I was watching this. This is like last week. I saw this TikTok, and I was like,
yeah.
"Are you fucking ridiculous?"
Yeah.
They mow their parents down with yes, their dad was a dickhead, but like
Yeah.
not enough to
He
get
didn't
shot with a
abuse them.
shotgun.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's not like he like physically or sexually abused them like they claimed that he did.
Yeah. But that's why he was bald. That's why Lyle or whoever the fuck was the bald one. That's why he was bald because
Oh yeah, I forgot that one of
his
them was
life was
bald.
so stressful, so he had to wear a toupee.
Stressful. So
Fucking
stressful killing my parents.
yeah, so I get the inheritance money.
Mm.
Ridiculous, dude.
So I can
Um,
immediately go out and buy a nice fancy car.
so I can write a book about it with my friend or a
Yeah.
screenplay about how the character kills his parents.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I
How
need to look
fucking
re-listen to that
ballsy is
episode
that?
again.
How ballsy is that? That's like OJ writing a book called If I Did It,
Oh wait,
which he did.
he did.
And he
He
wrote a book
definitely
about
did
it
that.
called If I Did It.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Mm.
So what, Zach? Anything else you checked out?
Um. No, I mean, the only other thing I checked out was I got one of my mangas, so I was checking that out. It's the first of two parts of H.P. Lovecraft's Out the Mountain of Madness.
Okay.
It's I've never read the story before. It's interesting. It's all about a group of scientists go to Antarctica, which is basically like the final frontier. It still kind of is. We really haven't explored it that much, but they end up finding this like weird mountain area with like these strange creatures, and then everybody starts dying. And
Yeah.
that's like where I left off the first part, and the second part is like I just know more people are gonna die from these weird starfish creature things that are like somehow have tentacles.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
but that's fun though, and the art's really great. I really like it a lot. It's
Okay.
very stark. He uses black and white really effectively, and I like the way that he draws. Especially because it all takes place in Antarctica, so it's a lot of the stuff with like ice mirages and stuff like that, and like using that type of thing to create like parallel images with like the
Right.
mountains reflecting on each other to like create these like fantastical like geometric cities and whatnot that like characters see for like an instant.
Right.
But I really like his art in that sense, so I'm excited to see and finish part two whenever I get that. So
Sweet.
yeah, but that was it.
This
That's all
true?
I've been checking out. Jason, what you been checking out?
Yes, it's true.
I got a couple
This
of
man has
things
no dick.
on my list. Obviously, I mentioned Night Stalker.
Mhm.
The first thing I did this week was watch the Tiger Woods documentary on HBO Max, or
Oh,
part one. Part two comes out tomorrow.
okay.
It's about his life and leading up to what we all
Surprised
know.
this isn't a 30 for 30.
Yeah, HBO Sports, HBO,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, that's true.
And he's not in it. Tiger Woods is not in it. It's
Oh, that,
based on the book that they wrote about
that's lame.
him. Um, and they have interviews with like his pretty much no one from his family, but they have his former caddies in it and some of his former girlfriends, and
I don't know. It
they,
kind of takes a peg that he's not in it. I mean, he's still alive.
yeah, it breaks down. It shows like kind of like pulls a curtain, if we can even say that's true. I mean, like it's just all these people are kind of saying the same thing, so it makes me feel like it's true. But
Yeah.
like how his life was really rough growing up because his parents were so like militant. You know, his dad was a former Green Beret in Vietnam. You know,
Mm-hmm.
his mom's like a super tiger mom type thing, literally tiger mom.
Yeah.
And like made him play golf all time. And his no, they made he had a girlfriend in high school into college, and like he was some white girl, and
Mm.
he like lied one time to go when he was coming home from college one weekend to like go and he stayed with her overnight, and they found out, and like they made him write a letter to her saying that they don't want to talk to her again and all this kind of
Oh my
stuff, and like
God.
she was like reading the letter, like so like that's all real shit, like she had the letter still.
Jesus.
um so it's all these things explaining how like his family was like super rough, but he was the only child to like become excellent, and like how his dad, which if you're a sports fan, you know about his dad, Earl Woods. I think his
Mm.
name's Earl. You know about how fuck this dude thought his son was gonna be fucking the guy.
Yeah.
Where he would go on TV and be like, "My son's gonna be more important than Gandhi," like all this kind of shit, right? He's a fucking golfer. That's fine, but
Yeah.
whatever. But in some aspects, he's like he is broke barriers and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a really good documentary. At least the part one is. I really do wish though that Tiger was in it, but there's no way Tiger Woods is gonna come on this documentary and talk about his fucking dad being,
Yeah, that's true.
not faithful to his wife,
Yeah.
and all this kind of stuff. So it definitely shines a light on the darker side of the Tiger Woods, like
Mm.
fucking whatever. And it honestly makes sense as to why what I know is gonna happen to Tiger Woods.
Mm-hmm.
It almost like it's like explain. Okay, I know because before, if you don't have any of this context, you're kind of like, man, Tiger Woods thought he could do it all. He thought he could just go out there and just fucking cheat on his wife and be whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then the world backfires on you, and you kind of hear about this backstory to his life. You're like, okay, I gotcha. Your whole
Mm.
life, your dad's telling you the fucking Michael Jordan of fucking golf,
Right.
and then next thing you know, you're like better than Gandhi,
Mm.
and then next thing you know, you it inflates your head, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, but it's really good so far. But it's definitely that same level of like Leaving Neverland, where you're kind of like,
Mm.
it's good, it's well made, it's very fucking interesting, and you're kind of
Mm.
like, but we don't have facts. Like we have people's accounts and it's hearsay, but
Ah.
you get like five people saying very similar things, so you're inclined to believe it. But
Mm-hmm.
you're also like the person's still alive, so we can't like can we not just ask Tiger Woods? He'll never
Yeah, it's hard
answer
to
your
just take these
question,
people's words
right?
when the guy's still alive. Yeah.
And Leaving Neverland's really hard to believe because I do straight up I'm not a Michael denier. I 100,000% believe that this dude definitely did that stuff with those kids. a
He
hundred
definitely
percent,
did help some kids. Yeah.
right? But it's really weird to me to make a documentary about something like that without that person being alive to like talk back or something.
Yeah, it's weird that he's not in a context where he can defend himself.
Yeah, and same thing with the R. Kelly documentary, Surviving Kelly or whatever, where
Yeah.
it's kind of like he is alive, and those people, I do believe that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of like it's just weird to me when we can't have the person in it.
Yeah.
If it was like if it's just a Tiger Woods documentary talking about sports and just sports, that's all
That
on
was the good
video.
thing about Hulu's Fire Festival doc, man. They got the man himself on,
Yes,
even though they had to pay him a buttload of cash to
yes.
do it.
But I'm gonna finish it this tomorrow when it comes out
Okay.
or whatever, and I'll talk about it. I'm sure again. Next thing I watched was a documentary on Amazon Prime called Jasper Mall, and it's I think it's a low budget type thing. That doesn't look bad by any means, but it's a
Mm-hmm.
documentary about the Jasper Mall in Jasper, Alabama, I think. And the premise of the documentary is this: we're gonna go into a mall and just film the people that work there and who frequent the mall because the mall is dying. And it used to be a
Right.
very, very, very big mall, like in the 80s.
Right.
And now it's, for
A shell of its former self.
yeah, it's like 3, 4 stores. There's no anchor stores there. Like the J.C. Penney's are gone, all kind of stuff. And it
Mm.
follows a bunch of different store owners in the mall who have to close up shop. The main person that follows is the security guard who opens the building and runs the building. He's also like he's a security guard slash janitor slash housekeeper slash
Right, because there's
whatever.
not anybody else there. Yeah.
And there's no interview questions. It just follows the people around. And they talk to the camera in different ways, and it's. I'm sure some people don't give a shit about that kind of stuff. That's probably really boring. To me, I love this stuff. Right? There's a
Hmm.
channel on YouTube I follow called Retail Archaeology, which literally just goes around to dead malls and like shows how it looks and explain. I love that stuff. So to me,
Hmm.
Jasper Mall, the documentary, was really interesting because I we have dead malls in Charleston, and
Yeah.
you're like, this is how the fuck does this? What do you do with this building when?
This giant building. Yeah.
What do you do with these big ass buildings that are dying everywhere? They're slowly dying everywhere, you know,
Yeah.
because gradually, why would you have a mall where you can just order online? Like online, the future's killing all the, and obviously
Yeah.
the mall killed the mom and pop. So it's like
Hmm.
all these different the cycle, and the documentary is really interesting because the main focus of the guy of the documentary, um, is Joe Exotic. Not
What?
exactly obviously, but he's this fucking southern dude, nice guy in the documentary.
Hmm.
This like Alabama southern dude wears camo pants
Mm.
with a tucked in black shirt. It says security on the back. Has like a mullet. That's like a blonde mullet. He's like 45, 50.
Mm.
He used to own a tiger zoo.
Does he say I will never financially recover from this?
No, but and he's like super like sweet in the documentary. Like he's
Yeah.
like super optimistic about like the mall surviving and like they like he like takes the camera guys through like the old empty out like J.C. Penney and the old Kohl's and like they're showing all these light. It's really cool.
Hmm.
Um, and it's interesting. It's a super pop culture like niche pop culture documentary, but I really enjoyed it for what it was.
Hmm.
You're not gonna watch it and be like, oh man, this is some commentary. It's like it's not that. It's just like a little small story
Hmm.
of the small town mall that's dying.
Hmm.
Um, and it's really interesting. So check that out. The big thing I watched this week
Mm.
is that I've never seen this show before. Really, I've seen reruns of this when I was a kid, but I decided to check it out for sure, and that is Columbo.
I don't think I've ever heard of it or
Okay,
seen.
so Columbo is like a classic '70s detective show.
Okay.
It's like one
I've
of the
heard of it. I don't think I've ever seen it.
yeah, it's one of the biggest detective shows of all time. Super big classic detective. I used to watch reruns of it as a kid, but never like to the point where it was like consistent. I would always just like catch it on like fucking MeTV or some bullshit, and
Right.
go, okay, I guess I don't have time to really enjoy the show because they were long as fuck episodes. Because Columbo came out on TV apparently as like TV movies, so like it'd be a full
Uh,
season of a show, but they're an hour and 13 minutes without commercials.
Jesus.
So and they would air irregularly or whatever to produce time.
Hmm.
So I watched the whole first season, like 8 episodes. It's really good, really
Okay.
good. And this is like 1971 or when the 1970 when the show came out.
Hmm.
Really enjoyed it, man. I'm looking forward to continually watching the show. There's like it ended like 1993 or some shit, so there's a lot of fucking seasons.
It's a
But
lot.
I'm looking forward to the show. And the thing that the show does really well, this is like one of the first shows that showed you the crime happening.
Hmm.
Like before this, like they didn't do that. That was like they just like had a full on mystery, right?
Right.
Whereas this was one of the first shows to be like, no, we're gonna show you the crime,
Hmm.
and then we're gonna watch the detective watch Columbo try to figure it out, but
Hmm.
who did it and how he did it and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And that's really it's really well done. It's really well written, and the character is so fucking annoying. Like in a good way. He's like an annoying detective because it takes place in L.A. He's this New
Hmm.
York guy. He has like a fucking like wrinkled ass overcoat, fucking like slobby hair. He
Hmm.
smokes a cigar all the time, and he just badgers these people into submission. And he just keep asking these fucking questions, and I can't tell if he's like a Sherlock Holmes in disguise or
Hmm.
just a really good experienced cop.
Hmm.
Because he wins all the time. He's spoiler. He wins every episode, right?
Yeah.
It takes it till the very end, but he always wins. And all the criminals are not like they're all high like white collar people.
Right.
Like no episode yet have I watched has been like just some thug. They're
Mm-hmm.
always like CEOs or like musicians or like classical musicians. It's never just like a band. It's like a fucking classical pianist or something like that, right?
Right.
So he's catching smart people, not just so they're super smart crimes. And he has to like figure it out, and it's like resetting my palate for crime fiction almost, and I'm really enjoying it. And from there, I want to dive into like the other '70s detective
Mm.
shows like Kojak or Mannix or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I watched for the big thing. The last thing I watched this week was last night. I watched the first two
Mm-hmm.
episodes of WandaVision.
Oh yeah, you did say you were gonna watch that.
Yeah,
You guys didn't finish it?
we finished the first two episodes.
Oh, it's just the
Um,
first two episodes.
just
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's weekly, and they just put two out for the
Gotcha.
premiere. And I really don't know how I feel, man, because the both first two episodes are extremely 1950s. I Dream of Jeannie
Right.
slash Bewitched style. They even like referenced episodes apparently to those both those shows,
Okay.
and then they give you hints of the outside world in some episodes. And like it's clear that this is a dream or a alternate world that Wanda has made or something like that. It's clear that that's what the case is, and they don't really give you any context besides that. Besides, in the first episode, they show you the screen at the very end. The screen pulls out, and it's the end credits of like their fake sitcom. And
Mm-hmm.
there's someone at a desk with at a computer, like watching it, like taking in notes or whatever.
Hmm.
And there's the logo of the Sword, which is I guess I don't know what Sword is. I guess it's like Shield, but it's Sword. I guess it's like space stuff.
I think
Um,
it's normally, yeah. I think that's like the space.
I
The
watched
the
the breakdown on
shield.
it, and it said Sword is like apparently like the space slash fucking extra dimensional version of
I
Shield or
don't know
whatever.
much about the Marvel universe to be able to like speculate about any of that. I
Yeah,
remember the way that it is like TV kind of stuff. It reminds me of there was a villain that happened in X-Men Gold, I think, that like used like reality TV or something like that. I can't remember his name, but like that's the only thing I could think of where he like
right.
used like television or some
Well,
sort of version of television
people
like
think
that.
it's gonna be Mephisto to be like part of the House of M type stuff, and like all other characters that I don't know. And my at the end of the second episode, she's pregnant, right?
Okay.
So in my mind, it's going to be an inverted House of M, which is like
She gives birth to all the mutants. Yeah.
no, not necessarily like well, not physically, yeah, but she's gonna say instead of no more mutants, she's gonna say let there be mutants.
Yeah,
Because
something like
my,
that.
my
An
reaction was
interesting
like
way to introduce the X-Men and stuff like
yeah, because
that. Yeah.
my reaction's like how where are they at, where
Yeah.
they been, how they've been avoiding this whole like fucking catastrophic event.
Yeah.
And
So does this take place before or after Endgame?
I'm assuming after.
Okay.
I mean, because there's no I don't know if there's any official context for it, but there's no context in the show where takes place. But I'm
Interesting.
assuming after because this is I'm assuming this is what it is that she's grieving that
Right.
her
The loss of
boyfriend's dead,
Vision.
and she's freaking out, and then she makes the baby, makes the twin babies, whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
then I guess she makes mutants. I don't know how they're going to explain that. I don't know how they're going to explain Wolverine. I think it's not. I don't think it's a good choice to do that, but I don't
Yeah.
see any other way to be like to make mutants happen except
Yeah, I
for
don't know how else you could really introduce mutants besides just saying like there are mutants now.
yeah. I don't understand that
Because you've
because there's
built
no good
up,
way.
you built up like 13 years and you haven't had them at all. So for them to just
Yeah,
show up,
it doesn't make
unless
sense.
except for having a character that just says like Vision or Wanda that is powerful enough to be like there are
Yeah,
mutants now. Yeah, I don't know how else you could really do it.
yeah, but even then, like it's also like oh, give me. I gotta pee real fast.
No, you're good. But it's also like yeah, because I mean they've already established that like Wanda and her brother Quicksilver were not mutants. Like they established that in Ultron that they're like something else because they didn't have the right to mutants. Because I think mutants is actually like, I think it's like a package trademark with X-Men, which is like X-Men and mutants are like all part of like the same vein. So it's like they couldn't use mutants. So they called them something else. I don't remember what they called them, but they didn't. They said they like winked at the camera and they're like, they're definitely not mutants. Something else. I'm not entirely sure how else you could really do it besides that. I just don't know what else would really work. It's the way that makes the most sense to me, and it's like, you know, I don't know. I mean, Kevin Feige's smarter than that, but maybe he's just at the point where he's like, I don't know, I don't. Maybe Kevin Feige's just at the point where he's just like, I don't know, I don't really care how this happens anymore. Just make it happen, and like this is the easiest way to make it happen. I have more faith in Kevin Feige than that, but maybe he's just tired and he's just like, this is how it's gonna happen now.
But
So.
that doesn't do a good job of explaining like Wolverine.
No,
That can explain. Also, I can't. They can't explain Magneto. I can't explain
they can't
Charles.
explain Xavier like that.
And because it takes out. So my girlfriend and I, we literally finished our Marvel rewatch. That's why we watched Wanda. So we
Mm-hmm.
finished our Marvel rewatch. And my big complaint is always like, there's no way to properly explain Wanda and Quicksilver, since they weren't mutants. They were made to
Yeah,
have the powers with the Infinity Stone,
yeah.
right? So they're not
That's what I was kind of saying. That yeah, they basically said in Ultron that they're like they're definitely not mutants.
Yeah,
So
we made them. We altered them. They're alters or whatever, enhanced
something
or
some
whatever,
bullshit phrase that they came up with because they
enhanced or something. So they're
yeah
not mutants, and there's no way to reroute that to say that they are.
yeah
Um,
unless you just say fuck it, we don't care, and we're just gonna call them mutants now. But that's very
yeah,
pointing.
and that takes away so much from Magneto character. Like, you need that character growth to be. Also, it's gonna be so
Yeah,
hard to make that
they
character.
wouldn't be Magneto's kids now. So if you have Magneto show up, it doesn't make any sense.
And you can still bring him in, obviously, and not have them be family, but it's
Uh,
also gonna be really weird to be like, he's a Holocaust survivor.
yeah.
It's just so tough. The aging is tough,
Hmm.
but that's so important to his character
Right.
that like you that's a character
I mean,
that
yeah, you can't do it without him being a Holocaust survivor. It's
that
like it
character like
defines his entire person.
you could
So
do other characters who have gone through genocide and still be Magneto, kind of, but that character has to be Jewish.
yeah,
It has to be a Holocaust survivor. It can't be like Somalian or something. You could do that, and
it can't be
theoretically,
somebody from Rwanda or something like that.
right,
Yeah.
you could do that like theoretically, but
Right.
that character specifically has to be a Jewish character from Europe,
Yeah.
and you know, to it has to have his powers awaken whenever, right?
Yeah.
So there's no clear way to do this, and I feel bad for the writers who have to fucking figure it out, because there's no
Um,
way that anyone's gonna be
I don't know how the
happy.
fuck they're gonna figure that out. Yeah.
Honestly, I would be happiest with them being like, we're mutants, so we just fucking stayed hidden. We stayed at our school,
Yeah.
and kind of like, if you remember in Endgame, when
Hmm.
it cuts to when Bulk. That's what I call Bruce Banner and Hulk combined.
Bulk.
Bulk and Skull.
Hmm.
When Bruce is going to see Stephen Strange at his house, and
Hmm.
it's not him, obviously, because it's in the past, so it's still Tilda Swinton, and
Right.
she's like defending the house from the aliens flying around.
Hmm.
That's the only thing I can see that makes sense with X-Men being like, no, they were attacking parts of upstate New York or something,
Hmm.
and we were like defending the school or something like that, right? But that doesn't explain the
Does
Brotherhood.
explain why they wouldn't show up in Avengers or
Well,
in
doesn't explain
Infinity
the
War.
Brotherhood. Doesn't explain the Hellfire Club. Doesn't explain
Yeah.
any of the other X-Men
Well, that's the problem with
entities.
the X-Men is that in the Marvel universe themselves, they're basically their own mini universe with
Yeah,
all these offshoots that come off of them. They're like Spider-Man in that they're so expansive in like their scope and
yeah,
like what is introduced because of them
yeah.
as a comic property that yeah, I mean there's just like there's too much shit
Unless
to explain easily.
unless when they redid the universe with the Infinity Gauntlet,
I mean that's the only thing I could think of is when he snapped his fingers back somehow that brought
it
back
just
mutants.
changed. It changed No, like it's either Wanda is going to alter reality completely,
Yeah.
which makes that mutants have always been around, right? So like
Hmm.
they've gone from not being a thing to an entire
They've always been
history,
there.
a history of
Yeah.
things, which would the only that's another way to explain like Magneto being an older person or Charles being an older person. That's the
Right.
only other option. So at the end of the show, if I don't see fucking snicked or something, a hint of that, I need a hint of X-Men,
Yeah.
right? I need that
I feel
because
like more than Snick, you're gonna probably get like some guy in a wheelchair.
I don't even. If it's that case, I'd rather have a guy in a floating red suit,
Yeah, that's
or
fair.
at least I would rather see like Wanda coming out or whatever, and then the camera pans. Not even a voice. You just see Magneto's helmet, something like that.
Yeah.
You know, because they have to start prepping straight up.
We do, yeah.
There's
Although, I guess really in their overarching plan of shit, X-Men really aren't mentioned at all. So I
no,
don't
they're
know if they
not.
really have to, but
No, they need to, Zach, because
I mean, they need to start getting hints for sure. But
there's just there's nothing in the next phases that anyone gives a fuck about.
yeah, that's true.
Like we don't care about Captain Marvel 2 and people say they do but we know they don't.
We know they don't.
Black Panther 2 sure, but that's clearly
I think people used to care about it, but now that T'Challa's dead, I don't know how many people are actually going to care about it.
right. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 sure, but that's never going to be a galaxy defining thing. Thor 4 is probably the biggest thing that people care about
Probably, yeah.
because we're going to get Jane, and
Yeah.
obviously that's a big deal to me. But like, if people like the last Thor and this is the same thing,
Yeah.
so people are going to enjoy that. But in terms of like movies,
There's really not
there's no
much.
more of the main Avenger movies, right? They're all gone, right?
Yeah, no, they didn't. They don't have any Avengers movies planned. So,
Well, I'm talking about like there's no of the
oh, the
original
team.
characters. It's besides Black
Um,
Widow and Thor. That's it, right?
well, Black Widow's dead. You mean Hawkeye?
No, Black Widow has a movie coming out though.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's it. Yeah, yeah.
Hawkeye has a show.
Hawkeye has a show. Yeah.
Iron
Um,
Man's dead. Cap is dead.
Falcon and Winter Soldier have their show. Um, that's it.
So the movies, all we have is
Because the other
Cap.
show is Loki. So,
Right. So you have Captain Marvel 2, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Thor 4, and then you have the new characters, right?
yeah.
So what we're expecting to be obviously there's Blade, and you got
She-Hulk.
She-Hulk, and you got we're assuming Fantastic Four, we're
Yeah.
assuming X-Men. So
Shang-Chi
Shang-Chi, yeah,
somewhere in there.
but he's not gonna. But Shang-Chi ain't gonna be a like. Let's be real.
I mean, he's basically like the Hawkeye, like Black Widow of the Avengers at that point. Like he doesn't have like, at least
Right.
I don't think he has any like big powers. Like
And there's no way that we're going to expect Eternals to be like an Avengers team.
the Eternals is like, first of all, I don't know this that well because there's also, um, what are they called? Are they called the Immortals? The
The
Black Lightning.
Inhumans.
Inhumans. So you have the Inhumans, which was
Yeah.
a flop, but
Right.
the Humans is still in this world somewhere, and you have the Eternals. That's like the same concept, isn't it? Where they're like,
And also the Inhumans are like the first mutants, so that should be
yeah,
like tied in. So there's too much to go on, and as it's hard to toss away my especially my again my I'm an X-Men. That's my favorite Marvel thing is X-Men. That's what I
yeah,
know the most about. So when I like the moment they like cast Wolverine or cast Cyclops, I'm like, okay, let's figure out how the fuck we're gonna do this
yeah,
because the only way to do it properly is to again like just have them exist and they just existed forever.
yeah,
There's no other good way to do it, or that
no,
they were in hiding. But then again, you would have all these military programs talking about adamantium, and we've
yeah.
never once said adamantium, obviously
No,
because
we
of
haven't.
fucking
We've said vibranium a bunch.
vibranium,
We've said adamantium, and
obviously
you've
because
had a
of
bunch of
rights
lines about how vibranium is
is
the
the
strongest
strongest
metal in the
metal,
universe, but it's really not because adamantium is supposed to exist. So
and they're like the opposites. One
yeah,
can receive energy, one is destructive. So it's going to be tough, and I don't think that the following universe is going to be as good quality wise as the previous 10 years. I really don't.
no, I don't think it will. But it's also just like I don't know. Yeah, I mean their slate is not. particularly exciting in any real way. And I just don't know. I don't know. They've got a lot more stuff that they've sucked into their universe now, and I don't know how they're going to write it
Yeah.
in. It just, I don't know.
The only thing I can say for sure is that when they do X-Men, the first X-Men movie,
Hmm.
not the side, not the Wolverine movie, which I don't care about. I don't want that. I want an X-Men movie proper.
We had our last Wolverine movie that we'll ever need.
Yes.
Oh.
When they make the X-Men movie, I want to see fucking Cyclops in a
Yeah.
goddamn blue suit with fucking yellow buckles all over him, fucking in a fucking
When I see Cyclops,
pilot jacket, and I want to fucking see that. And I want to see black suit.
I want to see this. This is what I want to see.
Yeah,
I want to see this. That's all I
exactly.
want.
Right. I want to see Jim Lee style. I want to see Jim Lee Wolverine, yellow suit or brown, tiger stripe. I don't care. I don't want to fucking see no black uniforms. I want to see fucking.
Those black uniforms were not.
I want to see the
Well, they
bright.
tried to do the yellow ones in the latest X-Men movies, didn't they? They did the yellow blue ones with
I don't. I didn't see it.
Dark Phoenix. I just saw the trailers, but I thought they had like yellow, black, or something.
I never watched it.
I never did either. I watched
That's how.
Apocalypse. That was
That's
the
how much I
last one
didn't care.
watched, so, and Apocalypse was not good. So
And I'm curious too what team they're gonna use. You know, if they're gonna do. Obviously, they're gonna do Cyclops, Wolverine, Jean Grey.
you got to have Cyclops.
Obviously,
I don't know
Jubilee.
if they're gonna do Wolverine.
They're gonna do Wolverine. He makes too much money.
I mean, eventually they're gonna do Wolverine. I just don't know if the.
No, I think he'll be. I
Hmm.
think he'll be in it. I think he'll be in it for sure. He's too
Yeah.
popular.
He is really popular. Yeah.
He's like the number one X-Men.
Yeah.
There's no way you're gonna do X-Men. You're gonna spend all the money, get the rights back, and then not use Wolverine.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know, so Wolverine, Cyclops, Jean Grey, and then for diversity's sake, which is what the X-Men is, which is fine. Obviously, that's the X-Men is diversity. You got to bring in Jubilee, right? You can't use Gambit because Gambit's still over there, right? Or is this,
Is he still over
is the Channing Tatum Gambit officially dead?
The last time I heard that it was still on hold, so I don't know if it's still like happening.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, they own Fox now, so like I don't know why you
Right.
couldn't just put them in there.
So
But I mean, I feel like if they're gonna do it, I feel like if you're gonna do it and you're gonna make people, I feel like the team composition you would want to go with is you want to just do the original. You do Cyclops, you do Angel, you do Jean, you do Iceman, and you do who's the other one?
Beast,
Or is it just the five?
Beast, and Jean Grey.
Beast, Jean Grey, Cyclops, Iceman, and Angel. Yeah, I guess it's just those five.
That's the five. Yeah.
I feel like that's the team you kind of go with. Like, go back to basics, go back to the roots.
You could do that,
Because
but
I feel like the
feel
problem
like
with
people.
like, the first class X-Men was that there was just so many that it was like hard to keep track of like who all
Yeah,
was.
I feel like that it's a possibility they do that. I don't think they will. I think they'll go '90s TV show team.
I can't even remember who's on that team again.
That is gonna. That's
The
Cyclops.
cartoon, right?
Yeah, that's Cyclops, Wolverine, Jean Grey, Gambit, Rogue. That's the
Oh, yeah,
Beast.
Rogue.
Beast.
Rogue's really popular.
Because that team alone is way more iconic than the original five.
Yeah.
Just a more iconic team, and more kids who are our age or a little bit older than us remember that show. Because there's no real official team now. Like there's so many fucking teams that they don't really care.
Well, they've done so much. Like, I don't know if they're still doing it, but they did so much with like the time travel bullshit, where they like had the modern team, but then they also had the original team.
I think they got sent back in time. I don't remember for sure.
I can't remember. That shit was so convoluted.
I'm pretty sure Hickman brought him. I think Hickman wrote him Back to the Future or wrote him Back to the Past. I could be wrong though. Or stopped reading the books
Something
because
like
they're
that.
so
Cyclops
bad.
was like space pirate and some shit.
Yeah, yeah, and that's when Iceman was gay and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and I don't know, but I just don't see it being played out that well compared to the last phases.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's all I
Okay.
checked out this week. So we can move into our main topic of the show,
Dylan!
Yes.
which is what,
Son
Zach?
of a bitch.
Main topic of our show this week is second week of our underappreciated, underseen sci-fi films. So it is the 1984 classic film, which I'd never seen. This is another one that I had never really seen before. The Last Starfighter. Um, damn, dude, this is a really fun movie.
This is a fantastic movie.
It's such a fun movie. It gave me such good like trying to think of what I don't know. It just gave me really like good vibes, very positive energy. The it's weird because at the same time it has like some of the best practical effects I've ever seen.
Uh-huh.
Like especially with like the alien design and stuff like that. Like it looks really really good. I like the way that it looks. And it has some of the worst god awful CGI I've ever seen in my entire life.
Right, but 1984.
But wasn't Tron coming out around this time? Like this works. It looks worse than Tron.
Tron came out before this, and Tron does look bad.
I don't know. I feel like Tron looks better than this.
I Tron looks worse, but I think it's because
Maybe I
the
need to
context,
rewatch
the
Tron.
context of what Tron is,
Yeah.
people give it credence because he's in a video game.
Right.
Tron does not look good. Tron looks bad.
Okay.
This looks slightly better than Tron.
It's not saying a whole lot.
It's not, but for 1984, where
Also, this is supposed to take place in the real world, so the
right.
fact that this ship looks.
But the fact that there is no other thing doing this kind of like there was not another movie I can think of that replicates like how the fuck if you're not doing Star Wars,
Yeah.
how do you do this? Like it's not it's tough.
Yeah. No, it's tough. It's tough for sure. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I feel like you could probably just do the Star Wars thing where you just do miniatures. I think miniatures would have looked better.
Budget though probably.
Yeah, maybe. I
But
feel
then
like
but then
CGI
again
wasn't cheap back then, though.
then again I don't know. I have no idea how much they're costing their animators to do this. Who maybe it was something
Yeah.
super like I didn't look at the budget, but this movie to me it's a classic cult classic movie, and obviously
Yeah.
people enjoy it. Film people like this movie, but I don't think regular audiences, which is what we have to clarify. Like when we say underappreciated, it's not by movie fans because movie
Right.
fans have probably seen this movie and understand that it's a good movie,
Yeah.
but the general public who just watch whatever might
Yeah.
not know this movie exists. So that's what we say by underappreciated or underseen. And
Hmm.
to me, this is a perfect example of a movie that is prime time, good at
Yeah.
every level. It's shot well. You would think by the name and cover that it's a
Hmm.
fucking B ass movie. No, no,
Oh,
no,
for
no, no.
sure. It
This
looks like a.
movie must have had budget because this thing looks good,
Yeah.
right? The acting is good, the shots are good, the effects are good for the time, whatever,
Hmm.
and the actual like space sets look amazing.
Yeah, I like all the stuff in the actual like Starfighter base that they have. That stuff looks good.
Yeah,
They've got the command ship for the bad guys. I like that set a lot. Um, like I said, I think all the practical stuff looks great. It's just when they go to like the space battles and they have the CGI, it doesn't look as good. Which also, I guess they must have built an actual ship for the ending, because that ship didn't look bad when they like touched down at the end and
yeah,
back in the trailer park. Like that ship didn't look bad.
right.
Um,
But this is the movie, which the basic idea of the movie is that there was a
mhm.
space war going on, and to help recruit starfighters to fight this war, because the fucking aliens who are in war can't pilot their own ships, I guess.
Yeah.
This guy, this alien, creates a video game to test Earth's pilots, potential
So this is
pilots.
what I didn't get. So it's like I assume that I guess this video game was only made on Earth
Only man
because
on
this
Earth.
guy made the video game.
Yes.
So in other parts of the universe, I guess it's is it just this test, but it's not a video game?
I'm assuming the rest of the universe is regular recruitment,
Okay.
like regular pilot
But
recruitment.
then they make a really big point about saying that like to be a starfighter, you got to have like the juice. Like you
Yes.
got to have spark type of thing.
Hmm.
But if you're just like if you're not doing like this like video game like test your reactions like the situational
Yeah.
test, it's just regular recruitment, then like how do you know that the
Flight
guy's
sim.
got like the gusto?
Flight sim.
I guess.
It's just like how it's like Luke back
Yeah.
home. He's running simulators.
It's just like shooting banthas back in the
So
what I can't remember what he said.
so when he goes to the fucking rebel base, he's like, I've done this 1,000 times. I've never flown a single X-wing
Done
ever.
this 1,000 times.
whatever the fuck.
Just shooting like mantis out in the desert. Blah blah
So
blah. Something like that.
you have the main character
Yeah.
who lives in. I remember when I first saw this movie, like when I was like 12.
This is
And
also
also, real quick, Zach, I don't know
yeah.
because we're not old enough to watch this movie. Honestly, this movie came out when I was negative fucking 8.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was a blockbuster movie that just didn't last. You know what I mean? Like, because to me, the movie looks
It
kind of
seems
high
like it's
budget.
got the budget to be a blockbuster movie.
Right. So I don't know if it was a popular, like a blockbuster release that just didn't extend its popularity and then became a cult movie for people like us. But for people
Yeah.
when it came out, it was still a big movie. I don't know that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But the prop design in the movie is so good. Like the arcade cabinet looks good. The car,
Yeah.
the DeLorean ripoff looks. Even though
Yes. I saw it. That's the
this
first thing
comes.
I thought. I was like, oh, they did a DeLorean.
Well, no, this comes out before Back to the Future though.
Oh. So Robert Zemeckis ripped off The Last Starfighter?
Well, just be real. The DeLorean's a real car, so
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
DeLorean's a real car. But what I was gonna say is that when I first watched the movie, like when I was like 12 or something, I was watching it, and I don't know where the fuck they live. I'm guessing it's California. Riverside, California is a place, I think, right?
Somewhere, yeah, yeah.
But I was like, well, first off, where the fuck do they live? On
Yeah.
the side of the fucking road somewhere.
Some trailer park that is
Two,
like hidden
I
away
was
from
like,
all
this is
eyes.
the nicest looking trailer because it's not a trailer park. He calls it a trailer park, but the
Yeah.
sign says like trailer something.
I can't remember.
But it's like a double decker, like
Yeah, it's
stationary
very
trailer
strange.
park.
There's multiple levels to the park because it's all on like the side of a hill basically.
Yeah,
But it's like
and it's
that was the thing
nice.
that was like I don't know if this is like I feel like this is a thing that happened in a lot of 80s movies where it's like that it's like magical realism
Yes.
almost where it's like this setting that is like so mundane normally like a trailer park they turn into like this fantastical place that
Yeah.
is like not reminiscent of anything in real life where you've got like people that basically have like mini yards outside these like
Yeah.
trailer parks and these trailer parks look that like they look like homes basically they don't really look like trailers.
And they have like plumbing, all this kind of
Yeah, they
shit,
got
and like
plumbing and all that kind of stuff, and
it.
then you've got like an actual like diner that's like attached to this trailer park at like the top of the hill.
But that's okay. I think you're using nice of a word. It's a fucking like summer camp, fucking
Yeah.
diner thing where like you walk
Well, I
up to
mean,
the window and buy a
it
hot
looks like a
dog.
roadside diner basically.
See,
It's nothing fancy.
my impression of it looked like when you go to like a fucking like county park and you for a
Yeah,
field
yeah.
trip and you're trying to buy a fucking
They got Budweiser though. I
right.
saw that sign, so
And to me, it's such a weird locale. Like
it's a very interesting setting for a movie. Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it before.
No.
I never have, but it almost makes me want to live there.
I feel like it would be a nice little area, and it's like it's got the '80s thing where it's like everybody's very neighborly, and it's like a close, tight knit community in this trailer park.
Yeah.
And it's all he's the big guy because he can fix shit, so like everybody like looks up to him in that respect. Like he's like the handyman of
What I
the trailer park,
what I
basically.
don't get is his mom's the manager, right?
No, his mom is like a waitress.
Right, but they live in the manager house.
Maybe.
So is she a manager and a waitress? Because they remember like when in the beginning of the movie when his girlfriend, which I forget her name,
I can't
when
remember.
she's walking around the
Mhm.
town or whatever,
Yeah.
and his little brother is leaving the manager house with the little toy gun.
Hmm.
So it makes me think that like why would he fix everything if she wasn't the manager?
I think it might just be one of those things where it's like he is the only one that can really fix stuff. Because I think the black guy might be the manager because he's the one that lives on the top of the hill. He's the one that runs the diner,
I think he just
and
runs
he's
the
the
diner. I
one.
think.
What?
I think he just runs the diner. I think.
Maybe, but I mean, he's the one. He's got his park at the top of the hill, and then he's also. They have that scene with the robot, the beta model later on, where they're like fixing somebody's antenna to their trailer park, and so like he's basically doing that with the beta unit. So I feel like
Because my thinking is like, well, why does he feel? Because his mom asks him to go fix this stuff, right? And
I just assumed
she
that was just
says,
because he's a good person.
but his mom says at the beginning of the movie, I can't do it. I have to work the evening shift. So why
Right.
else? Why would his mom do anything if she doesn't work? She's not the manager. You know what I
But
mean?
also, I don't know. I mean, if you're the manager of this trailer park, why do you need to be a waitress?
Because they're poor.
Yeah, but then this movie does not do a good job of establishing that they're poor.
It doesn't, but well,
They're not
it
poorer than
does.
anybody else that lives in this trailer park, and nobody else in the trailer park's like. First of all, nobody else in that trailer park has a damn job. Like they're all just there at the trailer park all
Right.
day.
Here's why I think I'm right.
Okay.
That his mom's the manager. Besides the fact that they live at the manager house,
Okay.
is because, like I said, his mom says, "Hey, can you fix this? I can't fix it. I have to go to work." And the whole point
Right.
of the movie is that he wants to leave because he feels stuck there, right?
Right. I mean, the whole beginning arc of his character is like he's waiting for this loan
Right.
to show up so he can go to a college that's not
So like,
the
why
technical
would
college.
the other girl, his girlfriend, doesn't feel stuck because she's gonna go to college, whatever. She's fine with being there. Her family's there, whatever.
She's fine
But
being in this small community because she's scared.
he's more stuck than ever because he knows that he has to live because his mom works there and she's the manager and she runs it. And he's gonna be stuck fixing things all day. Because straight up, Zach, if people are asking my mom, who's
Mm-hmm.
not the manager, to fix something, I'd be like, "Fuck you."
Yeah,
And
that's
then
fair.
if my mom, who's not the manager, asks me to spend my day not at the beach with my hot girlfriend to fix something, I say, "Fuck you twice."
But I think it goes back to the thing where it's like I think it just got to the fact that like clearly he's a smart kid
Yeah,
and like he clearly like has the technical ability to like fix this kind of stuff.
sure.
So I feel like him being a nice kid
He's
and
not a
his
nice
mom
kid
being
though.
like the nice mom, I
He
think he just got stuck in a rut
he's not a
where
nice kid though,
everybody
Zach.
looks up to him
He
to
literally
fix stuff
he literally
and he
flies to a
can't say
space
no.
station. The bad guy on the TV kills some guy on the TV. He goes, "Take me home." That's what he's not a good kid.
Uh,
Multiple times throughout the movie, he says, "I'm not a starfighter." Multiple times, even though the
yeah, but he doesn't
galaxy's
want to
at.
die. That doesn't mean he's
Hey,
not a good kid.
to him, staying in his trailer park with his mom, who's the manager, working on fucking plumbing lines, which he complains about,
Yes, he
is
does.
death.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
Also, where's the
again,
dad in all this? The dad should be
that's
the
the
one
point.
fixing all this.
That's the point. There's no dad.
But also, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I kind of get you, but then it's also the fact that he is going to get out of this place. Like he's definitely waiting on a loan so he can be like, "Fuck this place, I'm out."
Right, because mom
So
has to
he
work two
doesn't feel like
jobs
that
to
much
pay for something.
responsibility to like.
Because his mom has to pay. Exactly, he's not a good person. Exactly. He has to apply for a loan because his mom has to work two jobs to pay the bills.
Yeah, but then it's also like, I mean, if his mom's like relying on him to like fix all this stuff, but then he's like, I don't know. I mean, the fact that he like thinks he's going to be stuck there forever fixing stuff. I mean, like that's the whole point of him getting the loan because he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like I'm
Yeah,
getting out of here.
right.
I'm doing something with my life.
Exactly.
I don't know. I
Exactly.
guess
That
it's he's not going to turn it down because he's still there. I don't know.
it goes back to the same point at the very beginning of the movie. His mom says, "I would do it, but I have to go to work." Why would the whole? Why
I'm
would
still
the?
stuck on the fact of if you're the manager of this trailer park, why are you working two jobs?
Because you're manager at a trailer park.
Yeah, but like all these people in the trailer park should be paying you money, so you shouldn't have.
Well, she's not getting paid rent. She's not getting paid the rent money. She's the manager. Someone else gets the rent money. She just gets paid
Well,
to
if you're the
maintain.
usually if you're the manager of a place that like houses other people, normally you get housing for free. You normally don't have to
Sure,
pay for rent.
but she got two kids, dude.
Yeah, but then everybody else should be. I guess I don't know.
She got two kids. She a single
I
parent,
feel
dude.
like I feel like being the manager of a trailer park pays more than being a waitress.
Probably not, man. Tips.
Do you really think she's that good of a waitress though?
Because if the black guy was the manager, the old lady would say, "Go get the black dude to fix my shit."
But maybe the black guy's just not good at fixing shit.
You shouldn't be a manager then, right?
Well, that's true.
I think he just runs the food
I don't
shit.
know. I mean, I feel like the mom's not good at fixing shit.
Well, she said she could have did it, but she had to go to work though. So maybe you're being
I feel
sexist,
like that's a
Zach.
throwaway line.
You're being sexist, Zach. That's what it is. You're looking at this through your biases, bro. This is
Maybe.
1984. People have progressed.
Not
Um,
anybody in that damn trailer park. Nobody else can fix shit.
well, because they're all old school. They're all old.
There's a man there who just fishes all day long and talks about how. I also love that scene where he's like staring at the or it's like in the beginning where he's like staring at the plants or whatever, and he can like mouth a conversation of like the people outside because he's
Yeah.
heard them say the same shit every day for so long that he knows exactly what they're gonna say to each other.
My
I was like, damn, that must be a mind-numbing existence to just hear these people talk about fishing all day.
my favorite part of the movie more than anything is the 100% unrealistic scene of him breaking the world's the high score, and the entire fucking trailer park comes to watch him do
Oh
it,
yeah.
and his girlfriend gives him a kiss, whatever, and like
First of all, this girlfriend does not care about this video game.
I don't know if it's because I'm assuming this is the context that he's lived there a long time. The game's been there a long time, so he's been trying to break it forever, and that's
Yeah.
why it's a big deal. I know that's the context. I understand that, but in reality, I've gotten high scores on pinball machines at like bars or whatever, and no
Yeah.
one gives a fuck.
Yeah, but you also don't live in a close, tight knit trailer park
It's
community where
true,
everybody's all up in everybody else's
and
business.
I'm not the manager's son, so it makes complete sense.
That's true.
It
I
makes
also just
complete
don't
sense.
get. I don't know. It also doesn't make sense that he's like breaking the high score because he's doing that while he's having an argument with his girlfriend and he's like only half paying attention to the
Yeah.
game. So I don't know how he's suddenly doing the best that he's ever done because he's not even paying that much attention.
Well, also I love that the black dude's like, he's gonna break the record, and the
He's
whole
going to break
town's
the
like,
record.
what? And then his brother's like, break the record.
Also, his kid brother's the best.
Yeah,
He's got the best reaction shots. Like, whoa.
I love when after that scene when him and his girlfriend are making out, and his brother's like, diarrhea,
Diarrhea.
diarrhea. So the movie as a whole, it's not necessarily funny, but
No, I
it's
mean
'80s
it's got
heartwarming.
funny parts in it, but it's not a comedy.
Yeah, it's super '80s heart. When I think of the genre of '80s movie,
Yeah.
in that genre it can be any style of genre, right? I mean, like
This movie fits the '80s movie to a T. Yeah.
100%. It looks '80s. The only
Yeah.
thing that's not enough '80s about this movie is that his fashion.
Yeah, it's kind of plain.
It's almost there, but tucked in t-shirt into pants with a
Yeah.
flannel over it. You're almost there, but
Hmm.
not enough. The shoes need to be brighter,
Yeah.
like a wider pair of shoes. Um,
He didn't
and
got a lot of money though. His mom is a poor runner of this
that's
trailer
it.
park.
That's that you can tell. Look at his room. But there's some really
That's
good
true.
shots in this movie, dude. Like,
Well, his room is him bunking with his little brother. So
yes, I love though the movie has some really great shots in it where he sits in his chair all bummed out and like he's
yeah.
looking at the fucking ceiling fan. There's fucking
Mhm.
the galaxies are there. He's like
Yeah.
looking at it. It's like straight context to like know what's gonna happen later.
Hmm.
Um, the I almost like I like the fact that the movie is quick enough to get him to space.
Yeah, he gets him pretty there pretty quick. Yeah.
The first 20-25 minutes gets him to space,
Hmm.
and it's not because I don't enjoy the actual space battle. Because there's a lot of space battle stuff,
Yeah.
but I enjoy the setting of his trailer park house. Like I would have been
Yeah.
happier with more of that like environment. I actually really liked that whole thing, in the way that he talked to everybody. It's almost kind of like Tremors, almost,
Yeah, it's very Tremors-ish. Yeah.
where everyone knew
Um,
each other and stuff like that. So when he goes to
Yeah, I mean
space,
it's that whole setting where movies take place in like a small community where it's just like, it's the small town feel where everybody knows each other and everybody's
yeah.
like friendly and that type of thing. Um
How do you
this
feel
movie did
about
not do what I
the?
was thinking it was gonna do though. I thought it was gonna be like he broke the world record and all of a sudden he just is like sucked
Oh
up
yeah, yeah, yeah,
into a spaceship. I
yeah.
was like, oh, he didn't just get like immediately sucked up?
Teleported,
Oh,
yeah.
that kind of sucks.
Or
And then
the
they did this
arcade
shit. But then
cabinet.
they actually do like a better job of explaining like what happens where it's like, oh yeah, he has like a double that like takes his place, so like nobody really thinks that he's gone, even though it's clearly not him because
Yeah,
he doesn't know how to act like a human.
yeah.
It's that like a girl sticking a tongue in his ear is like, what do you call it? Oh my god,
I
weird like
forget.
sexual
Yeah.
urges or something like that.
Did you how do you feel about the space plot?
Um, it's incomplete,
Yeah.
really, because you've got the whole thing where you've got the setup that like the main bad guy is like somebody who betrayed the good people,
Yeah.
and then you have the safe space battle, and then he like gets away in like an escape pod, and then it's just never
Hmm.
seen or heard from again. Like it's not really mentioned. I think it is kind of mentioned because that's why he has to build up the starfighter fleet again, is that they know that like he, but also it's like how do they know he didn't die? Because like how do you know he
Right.
wasn't blown up in that ship? So
Right.
that doesn't make any sense. Because nobody mentions that like they know that he got away in the escape pod. They're just like, "Sir is not dead." And I was like, well, I don't know how you know that, but yeah, I mean he's not dead.
Yeah, I
Also, his
love.
sister was really stupid.
Yeah, the Rylans,
Rylance, yeah, yeah.
they look dumb as fuck.
They're just humans with longer hair
and
and bigger
and big
foreheads.
foreheads. But
Yeah.
I really love the other alien bad guys where they're like at the end scene where before they die, where
Hmm.
the assistant or whatever the fuck he is
Oh my
like,
god, yeah, the guy who's
what
like,
do
give me
we?
the rundown of the ship.
No, he's like, what do we do, Captain? What are we gonna do? And the guys, shoot, we die.
And then
The
you're
fuck?
dead. I was like, okay.
Doesn't what's his partner's name again? The main character's navigator.
Oh my god, what's his
Can't
name?
remember his name.
Um,
Whatever his name is.
like Gree or something
Doesn't
like
he
that.
have like a really intense line, like super like energetic, like or super intense?
Can't
I
remember.
feel like they're like
Grig.
he's giving a speech or something and he says something, whatever. But there's some like good lines in the movie where you're watching it and you're like, okay, it's not
Yeah.
necessarily the best. Like you're giving me like vibes of other movies that I like. Like there's some feelers there of like potential. Like the movie has so much potential greatness,
Yeah, for sure.
and I kept reading like they're trying to do a sequel, man. Like they're trying
I
to do
mean,
a
they could.
sequel,
They
trying to
totally
do a
could.
sequel.
It's very open ended for one.
And
So
I would fucking love, dude, if like 2022, like the Last Starfighter 2 or whatever the title's gonna be,
mhm.
and we get a fucking either the older main guy or whatever whatever you want to do, reboot or whatever the fuck you want to do.
Yeah,
I absolutely would dig it. I'd be so
I
excited
dig
because
it.
the movie has such a good premise, and
Hmm.
it's like for a movie about a war, it's super duper lighthearted.
Yeah, it's very strange, especially with a movie where it's like in the first 30 minutes you find out that like everybody else that was supposed to be your partner was like massacred.
Dead, yeah, dead, yeah.
They're all dead, and then
I
it's just like, yeah, you're the last one. That's
because
it.
I haven't seen the movie in like 5 years, and I forgot like that they all die, and I was
Yeah.
like, Last Starfighter, there's like seven of these motherfuckers, and I was like, oh,
Oh.
oh, Last Starfighter, gotcha, gotcha,
Also,
gotcha.
there's that weird part that's now also never brought up again, where the fact that he becomes the last Starfighter is because there's a Rylan that like betrayed him or betrayed the group. He
Yeah,
like blew up the computer or whatever that allowed the bombs to get through. But like, it had to have just been a suicide mission,
yeah,
I guess.
yeah, absolutely,
I don't know why anybody likes this like weird bratty Rylan enough to like go on a suicide mission for
dude.
him.
It's fucking for what's their catchphrase again?
I can't remember.
For death or was it to win or to death or something?
Is there a catchphrase like that?
Yeah, when they're doing when they're doing the speech and they're all sitting there and he's all awkward and they have their chant.
I can't remember.
Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up real fast 'cause I remember.
I remember there being a chant now, but I can't remember what they said.
Yeah, it's like to. I don't know if you want to call it chant. What's the proper word? Salute.
It's like a
Oh,
catchphrase.
it's victory or death.
The what?
Victory or death.
Oh.
When they're sitting there in the space hangar or they're in the whatever you want to call it, not hangar, but they're in the command center
Right.
and the president guy does the speech and they're all like victory or death, victory or
Mhm.
and he's like
He's like,
I don't
not
want to
for
die.
me. Not for me.
I have to go back home to be a manager's son. I don't want to be.
Also, I really like Centauri a lot. I like that character. He's fun.
Yeah, if they remake this movie or do a sequel, they have to do a better version of him putting the fucking face on because like
Yeah, because he just like puts a
he just
towel
puts a
over.
towel on and all of a sudden he has fucking full head of hair. You're like, the fuck are you
But
talking
also,
about,
that's
bro?
not even what happens because the first time you see it, he's just like he has his eyes
Yeah,
out,
yeah,
and that like took away his whole face. So he's like holding his eyes in his hand, and I'm like, first of all, that's terrifying. You're
yeah.
just seeing a guy holding his eyes.
Eyeballs. If you so like I said, if you ever do read Armada from
Mm-hmm.
Ernest Cline, you're gonna be like, this is
Is his
Last
partner's
Starfighter.
name called like Greg instead of Greek?
No, there's no aliens in it.
Oh,
Or
okay.
there's no alien partners in it. His
But it's all
partner,
based around a video game that
yeah, he
recruits him.
becomes high. It's like a VR game or something like that. He like fucking no high score gets transported to defend the fucking planet or some shit.
Yeah.
It's a good book for what it is,
Mm-hmm.
but it's exactly this. It's just a rip off of that.
Mm.
Um, but I really like this movie a lot. It's a really really fun movie. It's not
Hmm.
necessarily the best '80s movie. Obviously, there's definitely
Hmm.
better '80s movies, and this is not like in the top 10.
Yeah.
But it's a cult classic for a reason, and it's fun. It's enjoyable. The practical effects are good.
Yeah.
The CG is fine if you can get over cubics. But if you watch Initial D, you be all about this.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Zach, is there anything else you want to mention about The Last Starfighter before we wrap up the
Um.
podcast?
Hmm. No, I mean it's just a fun movie. Yeah, I mean I think and I think it's like we talked about earlier. I think it's especially if you're looking for like a quintessential '80s movie. I think this hits that that theming to like a T.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I do think though, like I said a few minutes ago, that it's there. It just isn't enough.
Yeah.
Like like back. It's like you can watch this movie and go, I see hints of like the potential like Back to the Future like style.
Hmm.
Like you can see it. The comedy is there, but it's not comedy enough. There's no iconic music in this movie.
Hmm.
Need some iconic song or a soundtrack or a music. Like there's the characters in there and they're there. So
Hmm.
they have the elements of really good '80s like sci-fi comedy kind of thing,
Yeah.
but they're just not amped up enough to become like mainstay in your mind from
Yeah.
1984 to now. You know, and that's why I think it's a cult classic movie because it just falls out of favor. But
Yeah.
it's not because it wasn't there yet. But if it's remade now, I mean, it would be like fucking Ender's Game or some bullshit, you know. But
Yeah. That's,
I like it. It's a fun movie. It's enjoyable. It is what it is. It's a good '80s movie,
yeah.
um, and you should watch it if you haven't seen it. So,
100%.
Zach, any idea for the next flick?
Hmm.
Dylan,
I kind of want to watch.
you son of a
Trying to
bitch.
think. I was looking back at the list of a couple of things. So there was like, I kind of don't want to do like a, I don't know. Hmm.
Mm,
I want to watch like Prospect because I've been seeing that pop up for a while now. Um, Prospect, or I was also thinking of. I keep seeing this pop up too, so I was interested in watching it just because. But I also don't know if I want to like have to think this much about a movie.
okay,
But
which one?
the frequently asked questions about time travel, because
You see,
anytime
I've
you get introduced
never
time
seen it.
travel,
Yeah, I've never seen it.
it's a bunch of hip. It's gonna be unless it's not complicated, but I don't know.
Who's in that movie?
I recognize their faces, but I didn't recognize the names. Uh, like I saw a screenshot from the movie, and I was like, "Oh, I recognize those faces," but I couldn't like place their. I
Oh,
couldn't.
Chris O'Dowd. Okay, Anna Faris.
Yeah,
Okay, a lot of British people.
a lot of British people. Yeah,
Okay, well, so it's a comedy. So
I'm down to watch that.
okay, I've
Yeah,
never seen it before, so I have no idea.
I hadn't seen it either. I was just looking up lists, and I was like, "Oh, this one keeps popping up, so let's." I'll be interested to see what that one's all about.
Sure, let's do that. We'll watch frequently asked questions. Oh man, the Rotten Tomato score is rough.
Is it?
Yeah, bro, it's all right. Well, it's classic Rotten
Oh,
Tomatoes where
damn, that is rough.
the
The
tomato.
IMDb score is not rough though.
Well, it's the Rotten Tomato score is a classic score of the critics really didn't like it. The audience thought it was fine.
Okay.
So we can check that out. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. License of You. See you back next week. Next week, I might have a review of Doritos 3Ds. We'll find out.
Shit, are those coming out yet? Oh
They're
my
already
god.
out. I'm trying to go. I'm gonna find some today.
Oh, all right. I'm about to go try to find Looky Loo for some then.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Realize
stop by
they
a
were out.
gas station.
I thought they weren't supposed to be out till like the summer. So
No, dude, they're out. They're out, bro.
let's go, dude.
So maybe we'll have a double review next week.
If I can find them.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. We'll see you back next week.
See you guys.